everyone, this is Aaron with CrossCountry Mortgage. Today we're continuing our series of casual conversations. Today we have Jim VanLoo with Ameriprise Financial joining us. Appreciate you coming in and answering some questions. What we're going to talk about a lot today is financial planning and how it is part of your overall financial picture. But before we get into that video, if you would click on the like, subscribe, or comment section and make sure that you don't miss out on any future updates or videos. And also feel free to write in any comments or questions. We'll be happy to respond and answer those. So Jim, again, thanks for coming in. As we get rolling into this, we're going to cover a lot of different topics. So the first question I have for you is, what is the role of a financial advisor or financial planner?
I would kind of say the main role is to, kind of introduce goals or introduce things that clients may want to do in their future, and you just try to kind of put that on a blueprint for them. Not everybody's the same. But as they come in, typically they tell you kind of what they want, as far as if it's a straight investment, or if it's, should I do this, should I not do this? I want to do this, but what do you think? So a lot of those types of things.
Okay.
Just kind of a blueprint and just kind of putting together like kind of a roadmap for them and going forward.
So a roadmap to their future in the investment world or in their financial picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you covering more than just investments as far as the roadmap? Are you covering, what's the full gamut that you're talking about when you go through and are talking to a client?
Some of it's, their children. If they want to take care of their parents, if their parents are getting older and they don't have a lot of savings and they want to help them. If they want to buy a home, if they want to build a legacy to pass on, if they want to make sure that their kid goes to a certain college, or, stuff that just everybody's different, and whatever it is that gets them excited, that's what we're doing.
So are you doing like a goals analysis? They're going to come to you and say, here's what I want them to do, and you're laying out kind of a roadmap to that goal.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's different for everybody, but it's kind of the same as far as you tell me your goal. So it's kind of counselor a little bit too, like you got to kind of get that goal out of them, but then you help them get it and achieve it.
Great. So as a financial advisor, what are the requirements that you have in order to become a financial advisor? What are the series or the steps that you have to take to get there?
So I have to go through licensing. A Series 7 license is required, a Series 63, Series 66, and that would be all for investments.
Okay.
If you want to deal with insurance and investments, you have to go down the road of getting your insurance licenses, your health insurance, and your local state insurance. You can move on from there where there's different levels up, but those are kind of all the basics to get in and be able to buy on the New York Stock Exchange and sell annuities, sell insurance, and sell stocks.
So as a financial planning firm, I have to imagine that across the board, there's different services that different firms offer. What are some of those services in the broad spectrum of things?
So there's just kind of the main invest money inside of a brokerage account, which is kind of like a bank account, but with investments in it.
Okay.
Very liquid and easy to access. That's the Series 7. As you go forward with that, there are different annuities that have guarantees, payouts, different things that will offer you more than just stocks. And you have to have the Series 63 and 66 to have those, along with the 7 to offer those. And then past that, I guess you're getting in your insurance licenses where you're doing health insurance, and just, other items that you're looking at.
But what you cover, so most financial planning firms are covering investments, stocks, insurances. That's kind of the gamut basics of what they have?
Yep.
Okay. So in the world of financial planning, are there different ways that a client will pay for the services that you provide, like a fee-based or a transaction-based, or how does that work?
Yeah, so if you just get a regular brokerage account, transaction-based is like a commission that's kind of upfront, buying the stock or buying the investment that you're looking at. You can put together a portfolio where you don't pay upfront on brokerage accounts, and you just kind of pay as far as growth is concerned. And it might be a percentage, like maybe 1%, 0.5%, 2%, depending on all the different outliers that are kind of time involved, meetings, how much time you want involved with it. But I guess if you want to just let it sit and go forward, You might just want to just pay up front, just let it be.
Okay.
If you want ongoing management, you might want that active portfolio management where it's kind of based on the growth and you pay a little bit of what you're growing. That's probably the only two really.
Okay.
It's either you pay or ongoing or you just pay up front.
Okay. So what's the difference between a fiduciary planner and then one who's not?
So fiduciary has to put away all of the different things as far as like what different companies are paying you or bonuses or anything that you might get as compensation, and you just have to tell that client this is what's right for you.
Okay.
And you have to be a third party, objective. This is what's good for you. That's being a fiduciary.
Okay.
If you're not a fiduciary, you might sway them a different way because you get paid a bunch. If you do 10 of these, you get paid more money. If you do 20 of these, you get a big bonus. Like there's different pieces that come, but if you're a fiduciary, you just tell that client, this is what's best for you.
And is there a different level of liability to that?
I mean, yeah, if you're a fiduciary and you tell someone to do that and you are getting paid on some, side deal, you'll definitely get in trouble and probably lose your licenses.
Okay. All right. So how does a relationship with a financial advisor and a client typically work? From beginning to end. If I'm coming in and I say, hey, Jim, I'd like to meet with you, what happens?
So I had an email today, actually. Guy's name was Nick, and he said, hey, I got a referral from Chris, and he said, me and my wife want to come see you. So I just emailed him back and said, hey, what time works for you? What are you interested in? What are your goals? Bring in your statements. Let's get together. Let's have a first meeting, and then let me kind of look at the data, see what you've done so far, and see where you want to be, and then kind of let me assess it, and we'll kind of go from there. But it's usually a phone call or an email or just, an initial consultation. You just talk to someone and see where they want to go from there.
And then how often, as you're going through that process over the years that they're working with you, are you meeting with them on a regular basis? Are you doing a call, a needs analysis, an annual meeting? What's the process that you go through with that?
I try to do four touches for the year, be it phone call, meeting, any type of update that will let them get towards their goal, or just let them know that, hey, I didn't think, I'm not, hold on, break. We'll give it a gap. Ask me that one again, because that's kind of an important one.
Okay.
And I want to make sure I got that one right.
Yep. So, as we go through this, what does it look like working with you on an ongoing basis? So I come in, we've met, and now on an ongoing basis, do we meet quarterly? Do we meet annually? Do we do a needs analysis? Is there a recap? How does that work going forward?
So some clients don't really want to be bothered, and they just want you to let them know if something's going bad. So those I kind of put in a different category of email them, call them, be in touch, but don't bother them. Some different clients are very needs based, and they want to be in often, come in quarterly, and just make sure everything's okay, just to let their stress lower. So I guess the whole gamut is whatever you want it to be, but I'm fine with whatever basically you want.
They want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with the Robinhoods, and everybody's heard about the Robinhood, side of things, and then the E-Trades and all of the different programs that are out there that I can trade on my own. Is it a good idea to come to you if I want to do regular, active, daily trades, or is it better for me to stay on platforms like that?
I would probably stay on those platforms.
Okay.
It's going to be less expensive. You're going to be in there doing your own research. You buying your own stuff. The trades are probably really low. It's hard for the big platforms to match up or compete with the internet based Robinhoods, and if you know what you're doing, I'd say that's.
So if you're really looking for just investment, quick trade, stock thing, it's best to stay at that platform. But if I'm looking for planning, it's better for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
okay. And so I assume that not only with different financial companies, but different financial advisors, there's different financial philosophies. What are some of the philosophies that are out there as it relates to investments and portfolios and 401ks that I might be coming in with? Do you have kind of a benchmark and some ideas that you go about with those?
There's kind of an old school method of kind of putting together your age and then kind of putting that together with how many stocks or bonds you have. So like if you're 50 years old, based on 100, you would have 50% stocks, 50% bonds. So you're half in the market, half not in the market. As you get older, once you're 60, you go to 60-40.
Okay.
You get older, you're 70-30. So as your age kind of like goes up, you would just kind of lower your risk kind of accordingly. That's kind of a rule of thumb. There's a lot of older, people that I have that are just kind of, hey, I'm not going to spend this money. Let's make it.
Okay.
So there's always outliers, but in general, you just kind of want to be. You don't want to be too excessive with what you're doing to where you can lose it all. You just want it to build because you're saving it. This is savings, so you want it to build.
So you're also, though, evaluating risk at that point, depending on their risk appetite and their capacity for risk.
Yeah,
is where you're going to kind of also direct them.
It's a big part of it.
Okay.
That's probably the first thing I ask them as they come in my office and we sit and talk. I'll, kind of conversate, but I ask them, what other investments do you have? Have you done any stock trading before or been involved in the market, or, what's your risk like? Because I don't want you to see a statement if the market goes down. I mean, we all play with the same market and it gets cut in half. I don't want you to call me up freaking out. Like, if you're into risk, you're into risk. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah.
So a big part of my, like I said, kind of a counselor, I have to kind of feel their risk out a little bit and see where they're at.
Okay. So what is a custodian? When we hear that term.
It's a company that basically is a home for brokers to use.
Okay.
So like, I guess Ameriprise would be my custodian, my broker, and it's a spot that is in between you and the IRS.
Okay.
To kind of keep things, rules based,
regulated,
and there's a way to find it and look at it and see it.
Okay.
And it's just a way to keep things on the up and up.
Okay. So if I'm looking at getting into financial planning, what are some of the tax issues, concerns, thoughts that I need to have in mind when I'm coming to talk to you?
Your tax bracket is kind of one that you want to look at. Not everybody knows their tax bracket. I got a little one-page sheet that I usually hand out to everybody when they come in, and it kind of takes you through, hey, as you make more money, here's your tax bracket, and that number goes up. Not everybody, really understands that or sees it, and as soon as you see that in front of you, you're like, whoa, it kind of hits you a little bit.
Yeah.
So taxes usually are a pretty big thing because that kind of lets me know what type of, holding tank, IRA, Roth IRA, different retirement accounts, what's the best for you. If you're in a low tax bracket, let's use one that is, going to benefit you later. If you're in a really high tax bracket, let's use that one. Whatever's going to help you right now is kind of what we want to do. And as we kind of plan out for the future, I guess the whole goal is to kind of keep things in, you want to get as much advantage as you can now, and then also as much advantage when you take it out of that same account.
So I'm assuming capital gains is a part of also that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, capital gains is a big deal about that.
So when I'm looking at my financial picture, my home is always a part of that conversation. So, I've got investments, you've got bank accounts, you've got home, other assets as you're looking at that. In your mind or in your philosophy of this, how much does the house weigh as importance of your total financial picture?
It's a big part of it. It's not only where you live, but that might be your biggest asset. That might be your biggest asset, and there's a lot of things you can do to benefit yourself as far as pay it down quickly, pay it down slowly, and use the rest of the money to invest. Whatever is really going to help you the most. But to have an asset like that, it gives you a lot of options going forward to possibly get into other investments because it shows that you have an asset. If you have equity in your home, that's a big deal. It's great. I mean, to own a home and have that be part of your portfolio, there's not a lot of people I work with that don't use that process.
Okay. So tell me, what do you love about your career as a financial advisor?
It's pretty satisfying to meet people and help them kind of maybe achieve things they wouldn't have by themselves. a lot of people have a lot of passions.
Mm.
So it's great to see, grandparents help their grandkids, and parents just kind of get through whatever they think that they're doing, and get to the other side of it. So I've had a lot of letters, cards, just kind of helping people kind of get where they want to be.
Oh, very cool. Do you have a specialty that you have?
I'd lean back on that tax area, man. Like there's a big deal about taxes, especially now that taxes might change. Taxes are decently low right now. They might go up. If you make 100% in your investment, but you're getting taxed at 50% of it, I made you the 100, but the 50 took it away.
Yeah.
So like I kind of look at that as a whole. I don't want to just say, hey, look at how good we did. I guess the net number is really what I'm looking at. And I try to put all that together.
Okay.
With, hey, if we use this certain investment that's growth based or this certain investment that's value based, you could do different percentages, but tax wise, you might not keep any of it. So I guess it's kind of on me to know that and kind of help people that don't know that, kind of get a net number that's bigger than normal.
So in your practice, how do you evaluate investment performance? We see a return and we say, oh, here's what it is. How do you look at that total picture?
So I base it on how much risk you're taking with your portfolio. If, the stock market, S&P 500, Dow Jones, Dow 30, the NASDAQ, you got all these different types of indexes you can go against. But if you're not taking full stock exposure in your account, you can't really say, hey, I didn't beat the market. Well, you didn't take all the risk that the market had because you didn't have all stocks. So I kind of have a pro rata formula that works.
Okay.
If you're 50%, well, you basically should have gotten half of what the market did. And if you got more than that, but you took less risk, you won. You did better.
Okay. So now you've mentioned in a prior, a little bit further back, we mentioned ages and you talked about a percentage of that. So do you advise different investment vehicles or different types of investments at different ages as they continue to mature?
Yeah, I would say as you get older, you probably want to be in less risky investments. You want to be in more conservative things that are going to consistently pay you out. If the market were to have a big turnaround, volatile movement, you're not going to lose a lot of your wealth. Like as you get older, it's kind of like, it's not really about winning anymore. It's kind of like not losing.
Yeah.
So, and
Switching
it sounds
gears.
weird, but it is. You switch. It's like I've made it. My pile's there. I don't want to lose my pile.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's assume for the sake of it, I'm brand new to the idea of even thinking about getting into financial planning and this. What are the first steps that I would take as a brand new person coming to that? What would you recommend I do to get there?
I try to run through your like normal monthly expenses. Try to figure out what you're spending per month and what you're paying out per month. And then that's kind of your cash flow number. See if you can save some of that. See if you can start saving some of that. As you make more, live that same life, save more, or move up and spend more. But that's kind of the start. You got to figure out your ins and outs.
And so it's a great question, and what you're talking about. What's too little? I mean, if I'm coming to it and I say, hey, I've got $100 a month that I can begin to save, is that too little, or where should I start?
No, I'd say, as soon as you can have $100 to the plus a month, put that away, save it, because that'll grow and that'll be eventually a pile at some point. And it's something that if you didn't save, you probably would spend.
Yeah, we see a lot of that. So now with you and your practice, would a client talk directly to you, or do you have a team that you work with? How does that work?
Yeah, I have a team. Ashley, it's actually her birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, Ashley, happy birthday. She's kind of the introductory person who handles the schedule and puts together stuff. Shanna's in my office. Sylvia's in my office. This is probably my 18th year of doing this, so I've built kind of a little bit of a circle, and we all kind of conversate too, like in the back office after we've had a meeting or kind of an idea, whereas like, hey, X, X, and X. It's confidential. We don't say anything else besides that. But how do we do this? And so we kind of have like a meeting of the minds to try to help with that. But yeah, Ashley is kind of your front person, and then from there, I would meet with you, and we would just kind of go forward from there. But you have a whole team based on, like, if I'm not there that day, there is somebody there. We own a franchise, Cascade. Ameriprise is it's nationwide, so if you ever need help, there's a 1-800 number for sure.
Yeah.
But I hope you never have to call that, because I want you to call us.
Sure. Well, I'm sure you take vacations and other things, so that's part of it. But now you mentioned it before of evaluating somebody, but do you offer a free consultation? If I had something that I wanted to review, if I wanted to move a 401k or something along those lines, is that something that you do and sit down with me for free and just say, hey, here's my suggestions or here's my thoughts, or what is that process?
Yeah. I mean, that's always something I'm open to. I'd have no problem helping someone out if they wanted to meet and talk about whatever. That first meeting's always free, because you don't know what's going to happen or what's going on. You don't want someone to not show up or help their family or help their goals because they think it's going to cost them something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been great. I mean, I appreciate you answering these questions. Is there anything that you would want to add to this conversation? Any tips, anything that you would advise somebody who's watching this to maybe consider when they're looking at financial planning?
I guess I would just say, be comfortable with the person that you work with, because basically you give them all of your information.
Right.
And you're going to be connected to them. And so you better be connected to them. That's kind of your person. That would probably be the biggest thing. Make sure you trust them. Make sure they have a good, trend of helping other people, and they're not, there's different lists you can look up that are people that have, done different things or whatever.
Recommendations.
Yeah, just like the guy, trust the guy, he, she, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just make sure that you're connected with that advisor.
Because you're going to be there for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that's your person that helps you.
Okay. Well, that's great. And I appreciate all the advice. We appreciate you answering these questions. This has been more just about the general overall financial planning. If you have questions or comments, again, please feel free to leave those on the below, and we'll be happy to respond as soon as we can. Thanks for stopping by. I look forward to the next time. Thanks.